if you look in the hallway when you go into the hallway, I love the lighting here. How it's sort of framed it really well. Like the lighting is so good at times that it hides a lot of things around it, and what it shows, like it sets the mood really well. I remember we were at GDC showing it, and I think there were some people coming from a couple of big studios to study how the lighting actually was in the game. Do you guys remember who? There was someone. DreamWorks.
Lady from DreamWorks.
Well, that's so cool. Like they came to check out how the lighting worked in our game, and they were interested, and they were like, yeah. And you can clearly see it some places. That's like the first hallway for me always does it when the light goes off after you've been thrown out.
And in this hallway, there are also objects that are placed there with the purpose of telling the story, for narrative purposes, and that is the boxes with the cardboard boxes, to make it look like they are moving out, or if they have just moved into the house.
Here we also start hearing like the first kind of scary sound of the level, which is the dishwasher, washing machine, which would later turn out. And a lot of the sounds that are in here are sort of meant to simulate a bit like recognizable, but also a bit airy, so you want to really place them hopefully until you can see them. That was a lot of the approach for the audio, at least for the ambience.
In this hallway you meet the first challenge of the game. At least the first challenge we designed, I guess. Just a simple explanation of what kind of physical challenges the child could go through. That an adult person in a game doesn't have to go through. Where a door is just something you just pass through as an adult, you as a child actually have a physical challenge there, and might have to stand on top of something and drag that over to the door before you're able to go for any further. And this is used later in the game as well to build upon the stress moment of having something chasing you, and just a physical block that stops you from getting away. I must just say I love the sound of the gate here. It sounds almost like a lion or a tiger or something like that. It's perfect as it just emphasizes the way when scared you can put character into small things like a door creak.
A little fun trivia is that Teddy being put in the washing machine is had I guess a deeper purpose in an earlier iteration of the game, where like we touched upon earlier barely, where Teddy was the antagonist of the game, of the story, and so we wanted the player to see Teddy being carried out of the room by something seemingly invisible, and then being put. If Teddy was put in the washing machine and something horrible happens to him, then the player would. We hope that the player would not suspect Teddy.
thank you. Something's not right. We need to find your mother. We have to be very quiet. You don't know what might be listening.
I remember I did, that was early on in development, I did an event when you got downstairs in the house, and earlier we had a door that you got framed really well as you walked down the stairs, and that door was just a plain old wooden door before, and I added like frosty glass on the door and a small shadow behind the creature that is in the house. I added that one behind and a small movement, and first time I tested that event on somebody, and it worked as well as I could have ever imagined. That was a perfect moment for me. Sadly, the entire level got redesigned, and the event had to go, but it was a great moment, and I learned a lot about subtlety and horror, I think.
So yeah, the first whole way downstairs. Downstairs we're gonna rev it up a bit with more intensive sounds. You see like a chair being turned over, it's like really crazy shit. And it's even a clock that's ticking sometime, you know, you start hearing the clock, the grandfather clock. I love that sound actually.
But the topple chair and everything, it does play a part in building the suspense towards when you reach the room, because upon entering there's I guess a very subtle type of scare. You have the like there's a flash of lightning and you hear thunder, and that is something we noticed early that people did actually just jump a bit from. So it's something that it works well, because there are other things that it builds up towards something, and there are other things that takes your attention away, and then as you enter the room you have the light flash. And it's one of my favorite events in the whole game.
It's good, it's subtle, it's a small jump scare, but it works.
It was a really good sign for us developing that people would get scared at something as small as that, because it just means that they're on edge with the setting and all that. We have done that part correctly, which I guess is more than half of making the game scary.
The piano. Since the kid of course can't play a piano properly, we spent hours and days making sure that when you click on the piano it will be as accurate a representation of a kid playing piano as possibly could. So we have like a fantastic harmony board every time we play the piano, I think. Also, this event with the apples,
I'm also really fond of. Just the hearing sound and seeing something physical and moving just makes the physical presence of whatever dangerous thing is in the house just feel a lot more real and a lot scarier. But I am also very sad because something happened to the, I don't know what, but the apples and how they roll. They don't. I spent too much time tweaking that. That was one of the first events I think I was tweaking. I was like, oh yeah, look at this. How they're rolling is perfect, and then something messed up the value, and they don't. Yeah, it's sad.
It completely ruins the game, like
Yes.
all those apples roll.
In general, this is how we feel when we play this game, because we spent 3 years we're playing this game, and every day we're like, so what is bad? What do we have to make better? Like what is not good enough? So our mind is still, I think, even like half a year after finishing this game, at this point where we're sort of, I remember this, I should have made it better. And I think we are very easy to see all the faults of this game, whereas you guys are lucky because you actually get to play it in max. We're all sitting here like, I'm not looking forward to that point because I'm gonna have to defend how bad those apples rolled, or
Yeah.
This is if you go through the hair. I remember you and me, we put it up as a sort of tech demo of, ghostly presence. But I think that worked really well. Like it's just basically a force pushing the plate and it falls in front of you. It's a little jump scare again. And I think the same happens if you go over to the radiator. That's probably the most fun I ever had with this game, was just seeing like, oh look, there's a bear, and it's like suddenly like psh, and a lot of people flinch really bad at that. I think also this was what people saw in the trailer, the teaser, the first thing that got really famous. So I think in many ways for a lot of people this was the game for 2 years until they started playing it. And that was also interesting when we worked with the game, to know that this is the expectations. Like this is defined as what people know the game is. So I think we always kind of try to figure out how can we work on the game. What is the game? What will people expect? How can we work with that? That was definitely an interesting thing about working with putting sounds in and probably designing everything. We had this sort of thing as the status quo, but as a defining level.
Just ikke-frokost. An internal joke. Our animator Espen brought lunch one day and he accidentally picked the wrong container, which wasn't his breakfast but just cheese from last night's taco. And I think Svein directly jumped into 3DS Max and modeled this container. So that's the only thing this family has, cheese.
It also works really well with establishing the mother as a bad provider. The child needs more than cheese. there's a lot of subtle sound happening this whole way. There's something behind you. There's something in that like creak. I think there's air ventilation going, and sort of all builds up to the next lightning, which comes behind a few corners.
The reason for this room being so dark is that we wanted to include some rooms where the player would have to use the Teddy light mechanic in order to see, because the Teddy light is a really good ability in terms of what it means to just that Teddy is the child's best friend and it makes him feel a bit safer. So we made sure to introduce a couple areas in the game that are so dark that you would have to use the Teddy light, and of course it's also scary. So. So you peek through the door and you see the duvet or the covers moving. And with this, we just wanted the players to think that the mother was is lying in the bed, so that when you get over there to and you climb the bed and you pull the covers away, you see that she's not here. And then this is also Teddy's reaction, going, "What? She's not here?" And then you have a scary event where you can see the door handle being jerked, and it looks like as if someone's trying to get into the room, which is just a representation of the child's distress of being alone and just not knowing where the mother is.
So there's this room right here, the mother's bedroom. It used to be pretty different in terms of what happens when you enter it. And we, through many iterations, it kind of got watered down a bit and ended up being not as effective as it could have been, or that it was earlier in the process. But of course the earlier version had problems as well, as we couldn't keep it the way it was. But it went a bit far in the other direction. So it used to be that when you entered this room, the door would slam shut behind you, and you would have to hide under the bed because something was trying to get into the room. And when you tried to go back the way you came through the door, you would open the door and it would be blocked by this brick wall that was suddenly there. And just that moment when players realized that they're blocked in and this is something that they didn't expect at all, that moment was something that was very effective when it worked, and it's something I would have loved to see more of throughout the game. But yeah, as mentioned, that it had a lot of other problems, so we had to change it, and in the process we lost a really cool part. But now everyone who plays through it gets it right in a way. It's better designed now, I think. But
And a lot of them crawl under the bed. I like that.
yeah, people instinctively crawl under the bed in that room. So we kept an important part of the room. Yeah, I think that's also one of the places that's most effective in terms of getting the player to feel that she's a child.
She's not here.
Yeah, having the player backtrack is always an issue, as you have to make the player understand that he's supposed to go back the way he came. So you need this kind of carrot in the end of it. So here we have the player following his mother's voice that you can hear in the distance.
So people were really struggling before we implemented the mother's hum in which you follow, but we also added, we just put tons of boxes in blocking the other way so that you can't just go in a circle loop back into the mother's bedroom. Yes, and also we added the markings on the floor which guides you towards the kitchen.
You also had a very distinct sound of the grandfather clock from the living room leading you back.
Yes, but I also think this is the reason. The backtracking is also the reason why the jump scare in the living room is so effective, because people have already been there, so it's not like they're exploring something they don't know. They know this, and they see the apples and they can think, oh yeah, that's the apples that fell down on the floor, and then suddenly you have you just see the monster flashing in the jump scare real quickly. And that's probably the thing we see people like. That's the the biggest jump scare in the game, and it's super effective because of the backtracking as well.
There's a lot of subtle sound happening in this hallway. There's something behind you. There's something in that, like a creak. I think there's air ventilation going, and sort of all builds up to the next lightning, which comes behind a few corners.